and welcome to Sending Off, a podcast about women's soccer. Today, we're going to be talking about a report in the San Francisco Chronicle about the NWSL's misconduct reporting tool, Arsenal's chances in the Champions League, and their second tie against Lyon, and some of the teams that surprised us in the NWSL so far for both good and bad reasons. And to talk all of this through with me, I'm very happy to be joined by a footy photographer, one half of Gal Pal Sports, and a fellow Emily Anderson. Welcome to the
Hey,
podcast. How are you
thank
doing?
you. I'm good. It's Tuesday, so I've still got a little energy before I crash, I think, somewhere tomorrow. But
It's
so far, so
Wednesday is
good.
the Wednesdays when you hit the wall.
Yeah, definitely by the end of it, for sure. So,
Um,
we're gonna power through.
yeah, I've got my coffee. We are recording before Gotham and the Thorns kick off at
It's
10:30
true.
tonight. So
Too late.
it is actually too late because on Friday night I was watching and I fell asleep at halftime and I missed the 3 goals in the second half of the Gotham game. And I was just like, why my body's like taking that joy from me? Because it had been pretty rare to see Gotham score in such abundance. So
Yes.
to not be awake for that was sad. And I'm hoping tonight we see, with the way Portland plays, hopefully we see some more goals.
I think it's definitely possible.
It's possible.
Alternate idea: if you
Yeah.
sleep, will they score another 3 goals?
See that I always think of that too. Like like if the Bulls play well and I don't watch, I'm like, well, I can't watch the
Can't
next
watch it
game.
anymore.
I can't
Yep. I
because they're
blame
doing great.
myself
They're doing great
usually.
without me.
It's like they must that I need to let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know if I'll make it awake until that Gotham Thorn game, but we'll see.
Well, it starts a little earlier for you. You're an
Just a
hour
little bit.
behind, a little
Just a
bit.
little bit. Yeah.
If it were
We'll see.
9:30 for me, I would be like, let's go. We've got this. 10:30?
That's fair. That's fair.
10:30,
If
it's
it
like,
was a Stars game, I would definitely be up for it. We'll
yeah,
see.
a stars. I still can't get used to it. But
I have been working on it a
I feel
lot.
like I bring it up every time they come into the conversation. So I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. But a dead brand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, sad.
Maybe we
Anyway,
should go back though.
I
Anywho,
always hold that. I'm like, just go back.
we could.
No one's gonna care if we go
No one
back.
no one will know, and maybe we'll do better. I don't
They
know.
won't. They won't even know. How would they
Won't
know?
know. They won't
They
know.
won't know.
No, no one will know.
Exactly. No one will know.
Perfect.
Didn't happen. They were always the Red Stars.
Always. Always have been, always will be. In our
All right.
hearts.
Yeah. It'll be like that. Not to keep considering it, the Berenstein Bears effect, where it's actually the Bernstein
Yes.
Bears. We can just
Yes.
gaslight everyone to be like, no, it was
No,
always
that
the Red
never
Stars.
happened.
That
I
never
don't know what you're
happened.
talking about.
Yeah.
I would sign up to scrub the internet of
It could be like the Men in Black, like look into
yeah,
this thing,
little
and
bean guy.
it's just specifically for women's soccer stuff.
That's it. That's the only
What
one.
what else could we erase? Um,
Ooh.
I'd say the 2021 Olympics because that was just very painful. I think it was
World
worse
Cup?
than the World Cup. I think it was worse than the World
Oh,
Cup
yeah.
because it was like the slow realization of the reality of the
That's
team.
true.
And
That's true.
yeah.
I do hate a slow play of that, and that was hard. Yeah.
Also, we were all awake at like what, like
Exactly.
3,
And
I don't know what time it was, but it was crazy, and Sweden just like knocked us on our ass.
I'm still just Sweden, I'm a little upset with generally. So,
Well,
and
we'll never
it's
forgive
not
them.
personal. It's
No.
not even personal. It's just my feelings are hurt. I know that's on me. One day I'll like them again probably, but it's not
See, I
yet.
don't even think you need to like them.
I don't know. They've got a lot of really good players. Mm.
Yeah,
including some that play for Arsenal.
personal.
So
True. This is true. Although one's only like a part-time player.
that's true. I need to, like,
She plays
forgive but not
seasonally.
forget. Right?
Yeah,
And good for
yeah, yeah.
her. What a good gig.
Oh my god. If I could, like, cash a paycheck like that, like, I
Right?
would love unemployment, to be honest. I
Be
hope my
so good.
employer doesn't hear this, but I would love it.
No, I'm gonna say I remember trying to find a job after college was terrible, and I was restless and I hated it. So I don't want that, but
Yeah.
the idea of having a long break of no
Yes.
work sounds incredible,
That's
truly,
actually the dream.
right? Oh, one day.
And yeah, welcome to that podcast where we talk about labor and and how we should make the work week 4 days.
Yes, amazing.
Well, our white paper's coming up. Anyway, back to soccer. Last week, amazing reporter who keeps putting out bangers, honestly, Marisa Ingemi, reporter at the San Francisco Chronicle. She reported on the NWSL's like very often like touted uh anonymous reporting line for misconduct and abuse, ways for players to report that anonymously. They talk about it often. That came out of obviously the awful scandals, long line of abuse that was uncovered in 2021. The story, I'll just get the cliff notes here. Basically, apparently they use the same software for the player survey, which is also discussed a lot. The player survey is taken twice a year where players can give feedback on the culture of the team, the leadership. Apparently, it's the same software for that as well as the anonymous reporting tool. And players were not really informed on how to use those. So when they wanted to report something, it was going to the wrong place. And so people were not getting the information that they needed, which is bad.
Yep.
It's really
Yep.
bad. Um, and I think that my favorite part though is that Marissa makes it clear that the league is only doing something because she called them up and said, "Hey, so it seems like your tool is broken. What's that about?" And she did that also with the very similar verbiage when she discussed the investigation that was launched into Albertine Montoya. It's kind of like amid a report from the San Francisco Chronicle, the NWSL has launched an investigation. And very similar language here. The lead reads, the National Women's Soccer League is modifying the way players report potential harassment amid a Chronicle review that found serious flaws in the system, resulting in widespread confusion and leaving some players believing they're being ignored.
This whole thing makes me so mad. On multiple levels. I mean, shout out to Marissa for just
Yeah.
being an amazing reporter. It's
And to just plug her other stuff, she's reporting on how, this current hellish administration is affecting players from particularly Africa, how they're at risk to leave the country now. Also, trans people in the league, like, it's bad times, but you all already know that. You're existing, but
yeah,
she's doing great reporting on it. So just to
she
plug
is.
that.
Yeah, and she used to cover women's hockey a while
Yes.
back
I've been
and
following her since her Boston days because
yeah.
I was living in Maine at the time, so we were
Oh,
we
okay.
were
Let's say
we were New England
practically
neighbors.
neighbors.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, so Marissa's the best. Always does an amazing job, and I love that she seems to finally have the support from a
Yes.
newspaper or news org that she deserves. But yeah, the fact that the tool seems to be broken, folks don't know how to use it, that there are multiple ways to submit issues, multiple places those could go, and no interest or I guess concern from the league about providing documentation or instruction around that. to me says that they, have just kind of fumbled the ball here.
Yeah.
If
That's another highlight here. A league spokesperson said, in response, I'm guessing, prompted by a question about, are players trained on this? And the spokesperson said, training on an anonymous tip line. How would that even work? And
Well,
I'm just like, whoever said that should truly be fired, because
100%.
number one, saying that to a reporter is so insane. You're coming from such a weird defensive place when literally it's like such common sense. If you have sexual harassment, um, you know, trainings like New York here, we have to have it every year. Very easily to provide instructions, or just like any other like HR
Yeah.
thing. Hey, here's a tip line. Let's show it to you. This is where you plug in your anonymous reports, and this is where you do this player survey. Very simple. Although I'm imagining, because I once had an employer who was like very cheap, so I'm imagining a very archaic software,
Oh,
archaic interface
100%.
here. It's giving like dial-up internet vibes. Like, when a website used to like not work and then would go to like this weird analog thing where all the
Yes.
links would be. I'm
Yes.
imagining that.
Yes. If anything, it's probably like a GeoCities site that someone's niece or nephew set up 10 years ago and has not been updated at all. Um, yeah, I used to work in like content review and building out help systems and like support ticket systems, and uh it's very easy to give folks instructions on that and not crazy at all. It's not a weird request. It's just a basic, here's how you do it, and also here's what to expect after. Uh, and that latter part of here's what to expect after seems to be the big piece missing here,
Yeah,
and maybe could have solved some problems. Uh,
yeah.
and
It
also,
sounds
it's clearly
like
not as intuitive as they seem to think it is.
Yeah. It sounds like players are just kind of like sending things into the void. And kind of on, the same line, the survey doesn't seem to be very impactful at all. Players are saying, I've never seen changes being made. They take it mid-season and at the end of the season. So, obviously they probably have a lot to say mid-season. And for things to just stay the same, culture stay the same, says a lot about how seriously the stuff is actually taken. And I think it's just kind of, yeah, I mean, for me, it was like we were on this path towards a better league, and it was nice to think that things were, all this stuff was being implemented, and I'm not hearing about major abuse, so like maybe things have changed, but it's obvious that the system of how this is handled, and obviously the league still has discretion on actually what they investigate and what they don't. So that too, once things like the Albertine Montoya stuff, when people start asking questions, like, well, maybe we'll take a second look at that.
And it would be great if there was any transparency around any of it. I am looking forward to the report that I believe is now required by the attorneys general, and what comes out of that if we learn anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it really does seem like the solution right now is, yeah, please file your report in this waste receptacle, and we will accidentally lose it, and then nothing will change.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a good faith system.
No.
Uh, and I fear that, like, if we don't take that stuff seriously, A, we're gonna have another major issue if we haven't already.
Mm-hmm.
And B, people are gonna stop utilizing those resources in general, because if they don't work for folks, then why would they bother putting energy into it? And then you've got folks just covering stuff up or not sharing things in the first place, which is a harder problem to fix.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah, league, if you could fix that, that'd be great.
we would love it. Get a little engineer to fix your website.
Just one.
And then, I don't know, maybe be transparent about some stuff and worry less about adding like 20 more teams to the league and worry more about the players that are currently at your clubs. How about that?
You know it's gonna help adding more teams. These things definitely get better as the
Yeah.
league gets bigger, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, we should add 20 more teams, 20 more coaches. Where where would they even come from?
I was gonna
Uh
say, do we have 20 coaches? I
they would
don't think we
there's
do.
not 20 women's soccer coaches out there. There just aren't.
No,
There aren't.
not good ones.
Not good ones. Yeah. Oh my god. So,
I yeah.
to put a pin on that, um, check out the San Francisco Chronicles report. I'm currently a subscriber. They have a very lovely deal going on. You can get 3 months for like 25 cents or something, and that'll take you go through a good part of the season.
Yeah.
So you can read Marissa's work as she continues to cover BFC and the other things going on in the league.
Woohoo.
Yeah. All right. Returning over to the Women's Champions League semifinals, where we had a lot of, yeah, major sigh, where Emily and I have another thing in common other than our shared name, is that we're both Arsenal fans, suffering at times.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of, are we suffering? Are we going to have a good outcome? Kind of in both lanes, but we're focused on the women.
Yeah. You know, the men are fine right now. I don't feel like I'm suffering on that side right now, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
let them
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
season's almost done, let it ride, I'm happy to be
Let it
here.
ride.
Uh, the women's side is curious to me. I'm not in a place yet where I feel like I can demand results given we had a coaching change last year.
Right.
Um, and it hasn't been that long. I would like to potentially see some roster changes or new additions. I don't have anyone specific in mind, but
Anyone will
uh
do.
nah, that's the Chicago attitude in my brain.
Yeah.
I will say
I
I think,
totally get it.
yeah, the criticisms about the Arsenal teams being very white, I think, are entirely fair,
Oh, yeah.
and concerning. Gonna put that on the side for a minute, I guess.
Let that simmer over here.
Yeah, let's say that'll I can't do anything about that right now, but,
No.
at least the Champions League, I don't know that they have what it takes to beat Lyon,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's impossible either. Um,
That's where I'm at. I'm like, because we should have won the first leg of that tie. Like,
there were a lot of opportunities.
so many chances. Arsenal definitely had the better of it. Ended 2-1 on a breakaway from Duvernay. And of course we have my favorite goalkeeper in the world, Manu Zinsberger, between the sticks. So there's only so much you can do there. But that is the frustrating part because I think that's like a common thread for Arsenal in these games, like games that they lose in WSL, games they've lost in Champions League. It's just about like not finishing the chances that they create. And I don't know if it's like, it kind of seems like a mental thing to me, to be honest.
I cannot believe the number of times they hit the crossbar or the post or
Right.
just like bare and it's just like, guys, what's happening there? Are we spending too much time at practice doing crossbar challenges or like on the actual crosses and not on the finishing? I don't know what's happening. Um but you're supposed to put it in the goal, I believe.
I
If I
I
remember
heard
correctly.
that's the point of it.
I think it's important.
They
It's
make
funny
that
because
like
I
TikTok meme that's like, I forgot this was the whole point.
oh,
Score.
what? Just here for, just here to hit the crossbar, honestly. No, but, like, I do think it's possible. I wish given that the first leg was the home one, it does seem like an uphill battle. But again, Lyon wasn't invincible in that match. I weirdly had a message on Saturday, from Friday, Saturday, whatever day the game was, where I woke
Saturday.
up and my best friend currently lives in London, and was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to this game today." And I was like, "What? What do you mean? Just a casual? Like,
Ugh,
you
that
don't
pissed
doesn't."
me off so hard, honestly. I'm
I
like, you
was
don't
just
even
like,
know.
"What do you mean?" I was just like, "Okay, I have so many things to tell you. Here's who this person is. Here's who this person is. This person plays for the national team. This person has a sister in the American League. This person," and it was just like, "Okay, you
Wait,
don't
whose
even."
sister?
Chewinga for Lyon.
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
I would have only been like, here's what Arsenal's about.
I
Although,
did start with Emily Fox, to be fair.
yeah, true. When a friend of mine was living in LA for a while, and she was going to her first Angel City game, and I was like, okay, here's a portfolio of all of the players and their some personal interesting notes about them.
Yep.
And
I didn't
the
even remember to tell her that Lindsay Heaps,
Haran.
hey,
Oh,
look at me go, nickname is Potato.
oh
And I
no,
regret not telling her that.
that
And
was key.
now I'm gonna have to tell her. She'll still
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Remember that?
Um,
Remember that blonde one?
yeah.
Potato.
She might know. I don't know. Her
I don't
sister's a
know.
fan. So shout out
Okay.
to Laura if you're listening to this. But
Yeah. I hope so.
um yeah, I'm gonna say we'll get her on board. But yeah, I think it's possible, but even if they make it to the final, I'm not confident they win that.
No,
Is
they're
where I
not going.
land.
So that's yeah, absolutely. They're not. They wouldn't beat Barcelona. And honestly, I'm so relieved that Barcelona is ahead 4-1 over Chelsea. Because honestly, like I weighted like my concerns, like Arsenal winning or like the fear of Chelsea winning.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I
if we
feel
have to
like Chelsea's
sacrifice,
too powerful right now, and it scares me a
yes,
little bit.
yes, it's the evil empire. Whatever. I'm not like a Star Wars person, but whatever that like, whatever that big thing was,
Yeah, that's the
The Death
Empire, the
Star,
Death
the Death
Star.
Star.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know the
you
basics.
got there.
Uh,
You got there.
yeah. Um, I think like I'm like so relieved because if they got to the final, like they could certainly beat Lyon. And they could definitely beat us. Because we have like obviously we would probably choke just simply because Chelsea was the opponent.
Yeah.
Um, it wouldn't take anything more. So for them to be likely not gonna make the final, I'm just like, ooh, another year. We're in the clear. No
We
Chelsea
gotta
Champions League.
we gotta keep them a little humble. Like,
Yeah.
someone has to, and for that reason alone, I appreciate Barcelona.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Because
might be the only reason,
their
but
roster is the greed that they talked about in the Bible.
it's bonker. I don't know how other clubs have allowed them to get
You
all
know,
of these
it
players.
pisses me off so much, especially when we know how much money is uh, involved in the men's game. Where I'm like, it's literally a drop in the bucket for you to spend like
Pennies.
it's pennies of spending on the women's side. And like I don't know how their financial fair play stuff works in England for the women's team. Like I have no idea. But I know that Chelsea's, churning out like $1 million signings like Naomi Girma. So on top of they also brought on Kira Walsh. I wonder how much
Yeah.
that was. Like, come on. Save some for the rest of us.
Right?
But I think that's the most important thing is that Chelsea likely, not, I mean, knock on wood, because like truly, if they
We don't know.
somehow, we don't know, but if they somehow pull that out, it's gonna be dark. It'll be darker than obviously Arsenal losing.
It will. There's a I'm willing to admit there's a small part of me that's jealous of just that roster and
Don't
the
say
way
it.
that, well, no, just the fact that they have, to your point, spent
Yeah.
and brought in, like, they've clearly invested in their team. Whereas I feel like Arsenal hasn't nearly as much.
Yeah.
And
I will say, I think they're
I
like split entities now, though, right? The men and the women's at Chelsea, they're kind of like
I think
Is that true?
so.
I
I
try
have
not
no idea.
I try not to listen about them because I just hate them so much. So I try to
Yeah.
avoid. But I'm speaking from I think I read that once.
I believe
That's my
you.
knowledge on the situation.
I believe it.
Um, but speaking of like the final with the WSL teams probably bowing out. I mean, possible that Arsenal can make the final. And wow, what a day that would be.
It'd be lovely.
But
Happy to be nominated.
it's an honor to be here.
It
That's how
is.
I would
Yeah.
feel. I'd be like, let's just not lose by like 6 goals and then
That's how I feel about the men's team right now. So I'm just like,
right.
okay, like
Right.
great, we're here. Improvement. I'll take it.
Let's go. But we're looking at likely another Lyon and Barcelona final, which we've seen quite a few times in recent years. Lyon perennial finalists in Champions League. And it's got me thinking because I think Champions League is such a factor for a lot of players making decisions on like being in Europe or coming to the NWSL because although we are, starting up this CONCACAF Champions Cup competition, it's
Thing. Yeah.
it's it's definitely not the same in stature. Doesn't have the history. It doesn't have the parity, even though you can probably also argue that it's not. What did Sam Kerr once say? You call that competitive?
Oh, yep.
Um,
Yeah, Sam.
uh, so, like, is it actually boring?
I think it kind of is. When I saw this question on the doc, I was like, that's actually a really good point, and I think you're right. Part of it is like I don't I haven't tuned into that much of the Women's Champions League this year. At least not until like the recent rounds because it is pretty boring. Like you know what's going to happen. There are a couple of like favorites and that's kind of it. Um but either Lyon or Barcelona has won since like 2016, I think, which is stupid. 2015, 2016. It's been
Something
one
like
of
that.
those two. And
Maybe
that's
Wolfsburg in
just
there or something. But
yeah. No, I'm looking at the list now. Wolfsburg hasn't been since
no,
2013. I had to double check. Um, Germany has been out of it since
wow.
2014, 2015.
Frankfurt.
Good old Frankfurt. Where are you guys at? Come break it up. But I do think like these are the teams that have invested in their women's sides and like unapologetically. And I think uh, Chelsea has the ability to kind of butt in there. And I think it would be good if it wasn't a Barcelona Lyon final, just for, something different. But even one team doesn't change the fact that it's pretty stale. And
Mhm.
until there is more parity throughout the European leagues, I don't think that's going to change.
And it's kind of like, how can there be parity when you see a roster like Chelsea?
I
Like
mean, yeah, it's gonna take PSG and Wolfsburg and whoever else, like,
Arsenal.
investing and well, of course, like, reinvesting, right? And, like, re-upping their commitment. I think Arsenal invested in their women's side early, and that paid off a long time ago now, but that's fallen off, and it not dissimilar to the US national team, other folks have caught up or started investing in
Surpassed.
their side, and you got to double down basically, I think, to find success there.
Yeah. I'll be writing a letter to Stan Kroenke.
Boy, what a guy.
What a
Yeah,
guy.
and Arteta's been saying like it's going to be a big summer for signings, and I just want to be like, you mean both sides, right?
That,
Everybody, right?
right? Both sides, right?
Right? Right? I mean,
Right.
also if you get another dog, I'd be good with that, but
Oh yeah. We'll take yeah. We'll take another dog.
I would love
Win and lose.
Yeah. Oh, no. Draw, maybe? Win and champion. Give me champion.
There we go. Especially if either team pulls out Champions League trophy.
Win and semifinalist. Is as good as we're gonna get.
we're like, Mikkel, if we
Yeah.
win the Champions League, can we get another
Can
dog?
we have a puppy, please?
Please.
Please,
Please.
Dad. Yeah, I will expect more results from Arsenal next year, I think. Well, we'll have
We hope. I mean, that's kind of been the thought, like, for the last few years. Is like, well, next year is the year we're really gonna change
but
things.
now we got rid of Jonas, and that makes me really happy. I don't
Yeah,
know that we have the right person in charge right now.
interesting.
I For me, the jury's out. It's just I think we ask too much of a new manager too fast to a club, and so I give them at least a full season before
Yeah,
I
I
say,
think having the summer will be helpful for her.
makes a big difference.
I mean, I can't argue too much with her results. Like, at least we're
No,
scoring goals.
I
You
feel like
know,
it's
like,
gotten better.
yeah.
I'm just curious if it's
The
gonna get good
damage
enough.
basically was already done by the time she
Yeah,
stepped in. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
uh, yeah,
And
that's
worth noting that our former manager is the one in charge of Lyon. So, um,
this is
with
true.
Joe. So, maybe stop giving away our talented people.
I think
Sounds like,
it was his choice to leave. I think.
well, that's fine. Don't let him. Joe,
Yeah.
stay. You must. Yeah. This is just me being entirely unreasonable. That's all.
I'm kind of always like things when things start to feel stale. I'm just like, okay, let him go. Joe had other weaknesses that Jonas didn't, and
That's
Jonas
true.
has other weaknesses. But
Yeah.
tune in for the second leg of Champions League this weekend, early again, I
Very
think,
soon.
or
I
maybe
think
not.
it is early again.
All right,
Either way, we'll be tuned in.
I'll be up. I'll have my cup of coffee.
Yeah,
Um,
2 or 3.
a few a hat trick of
There
coffee
you go.
cups.
There you go.
Tie it
Just
back in.
3 different cups. You don't
Yeah.
refill.
Well,
Just
that's
3
like
different cups.
that's brunch for me too. You need to have like
That makes
3
sense.
beverages:
That's
water,
true.
coffee, mimosa.
Oh, it's not that early, actually.
Oh, is it noon?
It's yes, your time, it's noon. So
I had
that's
to
not
do
bad.
that tricky math.
I know, I was like I always correct the wrong direction, which is terrible. Every time I tell my parents I'm coming to visit, I get the ETA wrong, and they've learned to just be like, "Okay,
Yeah. Thanks.
yep, they
Mhm.
know."
Well, moving on to our domestic league, our wonderful league, the NWSL. I think, especially this past weekend, was like super interesting results for a few teams. And we've outlined a few teams who surprised us in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah,
For both good and bad reasons. Teams that we had come to expect to be pretty consistent have really fallen off. Teams that might have expected them to be really bad have come good so far. I mean, it's early. Caveat.
it's early.
It's so early, but what are we gonna do? This is what we gotta talk about.
Yeah,
We only have
um,
5 weeks to talk about, so we're gonna talk about it.
exactly. We're gonna talk about the weeks that we have. Uh,
Yeah.
I gotta say shout out to North Carolina, for keeping the Stars out of last place, and so that's cool. They also had puppies at their game, and in my book, this is the most likable North Carolina's ever been. Um, they're not beating anyone, and they have puppies. Great.
This is
Uh,
so true. They went from like the evil empire and NWSL to just like you kind of feel bad for them.
I do feel a little bad for them. I think because I wasn't expecting them to fall this far, and it
Yeah.
feels a little surprising. Uh, and I imagine they might feel a little surprised too.
I think Jaden Shaw's thinking, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. To
She's
be
looking over
fair,
at San Diego and she's like, huh.
I feel like I'm still glad she got out of San Diego.
Yeah.
I don't want to dig into that dirt too much, but like I'm like, I hope you're at least having an okay time or getting a puppy
Yeah.
And maybe there's still space for growth there for her, or like a place to become a leader, whereas I feel like San Diego's maybe a little more crowded.
Yeah.
But
I think what's so tough about this situation is she's obviously being brought in to be like a key piece. And she's still so young.
she's a
She's
baby.
so young. And she had players like Alex Morgan with her. Um Naomi
Germa,
Girma. She had other people who were taking up kind of like that spotlight. Whereas now it's like, you're the star, babe. That's you. You got Ashley Sanchez, but she didn't even start in the last game.
which is bonkers to me. I'm like, why? What for reasons I need
For
to
why?
understand more? Yeah,
For why,
I don't
Sean?
understand having Ashley Sanchez and not putting her in the middle of the park all the time. Um,
It's very
I
confusing.
really like her.
I do think it's funny. Like I've noticed, kind of whenever North Carolina hits a slump, Shawnee Haas is like, "Let me put Brianna Pinto at center forward and see what happens."
Just, just see what happens. Let's let her loose. Yeah. Sean's decisions don't always make sense to me. I gotta be honest. But yeah. I am curious to see if they turn this around. They don't have an untalented roster. Uh
I think they have a lot of
so
young players. Manaka is very young too.
yeah.
She's another like I would say like rising star. So that is a lot to put on this team. But it is kind of curious because like it's not even like Caroline played a big role last season. Like
No.
she came into the playoffs, I think, but that
I
was
think
it.
you're
And
right.
then
But
she
I do
pieced
think
out.
that's probably the biggest change from 2 seasons ago, was her involvement and kinda key role in the team 2 seasons ago to obviously was out a lot of last season. And now they don't have her. And so, yeah, they're gonna have to find something else that works.
Yeah. I think Sean C is gonna start getting hot if it's not already.
Yeah? I
I
think you're right.
I
I can't
mean,
imagine it doesn't.
it is hard because he's been a really consistent coach, considering especially with what they've had, especially with after the huge turnover of that core that they had for years, that really successful dynasty, basically. So I
Yeah,
think he did really well with the players he's had, um, and he's been super consistent. But 2 points in 5 games is not the
it's
courage
tough.
way. That is very tough.
It is tough.
Or on this podcast in our first episode, we were like, who's gonna be the first coach fired? And I thought Rob Gale, but it could
Mm,
very well be Sean Haas, even though they might see it through with him just because he's been there for so long. And I think they also might know that this is like just
a
a
rebuilding. Yeah.
another transitional phase.
Yeah. I
But
do think different coaches are also good at different things. So I don't know if Sean is good at like this phase of a team or if he's better with a team that's more established.
true.
But I think we might find out. And I think he's earned a little patience. Maybe not
Yeah.
all of the patience, maybe not a full season of patience, but at least some. Uh,
If it's a total disaster and like, after by June, if they're like still
yeah,
at the bottom of the table, maybe it's time.
maybe it's time.
But we'll
We're
see.
gonna
We'll find
talk
out.
about who else is down there.
Oh yeah.
Um,
San Diego Wave. That's on the flip side kind of this dynamic of a team
it
that
is.
they're also in a transition. Huge changes for them. Losing Jaden Shaw, losing Yoma Gurma, Alex Morgan leaving in the middle of last season. A lot of other changes too. A lot of
Yeah.
new players and a new coach, Jonas, who I'm getting from you're not a fan of. Um,
No.
no, see, I wouldn't say
It's not personal either. Like, it's
it's
not
just
anything.
it's just business.
It's just business. I am here for business, and while he was in charge of Arsenal, we did not stand on business. And so for me, I'm like, again, maybe he is better suited for a team at a certain phase. It's kind of it's also how I felt about like Unai Emery with, again, not to bring up the men's team again, but like
Ugh.
I I didn't have a problem with him though as a guy or as a coach, but he was not the right fit for what Arsenal needed
Yeah.
next.
I do make
Um,
things personal, so I was like, "Oh, no."
that's fair. I'm
Okay.
I'm too forgiving most of the
You're
time.
grown. You're actually emotionally mature is what I would call it.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Although once you do get on that bad side, we're done. It's a hard line. So,
Wow.
yeah, Jonas
This
isn't
is
quite
noted.
there yet. Yeah, I
Yeah.
say, there are a couple of like, they're usually men's players. I don't think there are any women's players that I hate that much. And I unfortunately see all of them as people.
Wow.
But men's side, a little less
A
so.
less, a little less.
A little less so. That's my theory as to why men have like the attachment to men's sports the way that they do and find it to be an escape. It's because they don't think about any of them as people. And so they're able to just watch it as entertainment. And that's it.
Yes.
But
Okay,
anyway,
that's a research paper.
it is, and I say that's another paper we've got to get to work on.
Mhm.
But yeah, Jonas, I think it seems like he's doing a good job at San Diego. I think they're winning the games they should
Should
win.
win. Mhm.
The ones they've lost have been to Kansas City and Orlando, which I think are reasonable losses for anyone
Quite,
in the league at
quite.
this point.
Yeah.
Tied Angel City, we'll see. That's first game of the season. I'm not gonna. So that's one I'm definitely gonna watch. We get to watch it in person on Saturday.
Woo!
A little worried for our side, but I definitely think they are improving, and I'm a little surprised, but happy for them.
Yeah, I
I
think,
still
like
miss Casey Stoney, though, if I'm being honest.
which, I was told by, a friend in the audience that audience, the crowd, that Casey was at, the recent game and came over to the supporters and said hello
Oh,
and thanked them, so class act, Casey Stoney.
she really is. Man,
Just what a gal.
what a gal. Deserve better.
Let me drink to Casey Stoney.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to Casey
Cheers.
Stoney.
Cheers. Anyway, I think some people thought things would be a little more dire. I do believe in Jonas as like a very competent manager, and I kind of think that Arsenal was in a similar place that San Diego's in now. I think he maybe does like the start of a project, and it's kind of like when you get all the established players, it's been a few years, and it's like, okay, actually, where do we go from here?
And
When
then
my
what? Yep.
yeah, and then when it's like my original plan isn't exactly right, so I don't really know what to do. I mean, to be fair, I didn't get a lot of help from Claire Wheatley, but what uh neither has any
True.
Arsenal manager ever. So
Never.
I'm impressed with I think like Kenza Dali, how she's come in to that team has been like a real structure in midfield. Savannah McCaskill's doing a pretty different role than what she's been asked to in the past.
And I think we're seeing better out of McCaskill than we've seen. I feel like she might be a player that folks have tried to fit into a certain box or into a certain role that hasn't quite fit her, and it feels like maybe now they're actually fitting her where she needs to go. I'm also excited for like Maria Sanchez.
Yeah.
To like get back and like do some winning, do some scoring. Uh it's nice for her. She had a rough go
She's
in
had a rough
Houston.
spell, especially after
Yeah,
watching the off season, and she's like, "I bought a
right?
house." I was like,
Right?
"No,
I
Maria."
was like, "Oh girl." Oh,
Which
that
I mean,
hurt a lot.
considering her family is like probably in Texas, maybe or Mexico, Mexico, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Crap.
She grew up, I think, in Mexico. Um,
That would make sense.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm
but she
not
has a house
Googling
there.
anything. Yeah,
We're doing research. But
always.
I think probably keeps the house in Houston just for the.
How's this? She was born in Idaho.
You're kidding.
Not at all. American Falls, Idaho. That's
Wow.
wild, and that's where she grew up.
Wow.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
That is
Um,
fascinating.
yeah. Her parents were born in Mexico, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that makes sense. But yeah.
thanks to everyone going on that journey with us.
Yeah, honestly, I'm glad it had a fun result and not just like, "Yep, Texas, cool."
It was
That ended
unexpected.
it was Idaho. I would never guess anyone's from Idaho. Um,
No, you never really think about that state, do you?
Almost never, not unless I'm buying
Only
potatoes.
only when that Boy Genius song comes up.
Yes. Yeah.
Catch 'em, I don't know.
Man. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how San Diego's season continues. I hope they can keep building, for their
Yeah.
sake, because
I
I
mean,
think they're due.
Cascarino is, like, currently with the games we have, the weeks that we have, as we've discussed, those are the ones that we have, um, she's, like, on my MVP shortlist then.
Ooh,
'Cause
I think
I
that's
mean,
fair.
simply with the goals and assists that she's made, it's obviously early, things could fall off, but I think she's already tied, like, the number that she had last season, starting mid-season with the Wave, so I think
Impact
she
player.
impact player for sure. Another team that surprised me at least with the maybe like the longest injury report
I've ever
perhaps
seen.
ever seen, the Washington Spirit. Massive injury list.
Insane.
Absolutely insane injury list. So many, and not just that it's a long injury list, but who's injured too. So
Yeah.
many key players from last season. And they still managed to win against the Orlando Pride over the weekend.
Which is insane. Uh, how dare they? First of
It
all.
pisses me off, to be honest, because then you think about them getting healthy and you're like,
We're
well,
doomed. We're all
yeah,
doomed.
fucking forget about it.
Yeah. I it feels like their injury list should be delivered in like a scroll at this point or something we
We'll
can
have like a
like
little
page
trumpet.
through. Yeah. Of just like it is long. We need to read it like this at the very least. Um
Me.
yeah,
Uh,
all of them. Oh god.
yeah.
And
How
I'm
I don't know how else injury is.
we do I don't know either. But also just like hell get better. You're fun.
Yeah.
I mean, all of you are. Trinity, I'm worried about in 12 ways of just
That
like, girl, you are too young for back problems. I know we're already there,
the
but
back
also
problems
please get
never
better.
good. I
No.
think that was one of Tobin Heath's like really long injuries. Was her back. So that's really
Yeah.
tricky.
I mean, back stuff is it hurts all the time and like I feel like a lot of it is just living with pain, which
And
I
that's where you
don't
keep
wish
your
on anyone.
trauma. That's where you keep your
It's true.
trauma. So maybe some
It's
like
true.
acupuncture or something.
Something.
What, Reiki? Is that what? I
That's
don't
a
know.
thing. Sound healing, I think is another option. Um, Whatever works and doesn't hurt her further, great, let's
Yeah,
try it.
let's do
Let's
that.
try throw whatever you got at it. Yeah, so that whole team is preposterously good, and I do fear the day they are all
Yeah.
healthy
I
'cause
think it like with the players that they have, like it really just comes down probably to the coaching and like the system, like for it to be that consistent still and like not have a big drop off when you have so many key players out. Like kind of see that Jonathan Heraldez is the real deal.
Yeah. I do think the system makes a big difference there. I was just talking to Leslie about how, Chicago needs to have been prepared to play without Mal. And I was like, yeah, they
Hmm.
need to be prepared to play without any one player for a period
Yeah.
of time because that's the reality of the league. We saw it happen when Sam got injured last year. Um, we have, tournaments throughout the summer, all sorts of fun stuff, but like players aren't available the whole season very often. So building your team based on one or two players is a bad idea. And isn't gonna give you a resilient team. Washington seems to have figured something out, and if I could borrow some of that magic, that would be cool.
Some of that Michelle King money.
Yeah, yeah. The magic is actually just money, as it turns out.
Oh,
Who knew?
wow. Who would have
Yep.
thought?
I know. I was like, if you could throw that, any other directions, that'd be cool.
It's like money
At least it is.
actually does buy happiness, so
It at least buys health in
crazy.
this country, I think. So,
That's see,
unfortunately,
that's actually the thesis of this episode.
yeah, money buys health. Or at least doctors in London. I don't know.
Yeah, right,
We're all
that's actually
confused about
so
why London.
weird. I guess well, she does also own London City Lionesses, so
Yeah,
I guess the team doctors
and
just posted up in London.
I think so. I imagine it's like that and or
Shh.
proximity to like European, like Swiss doctors or something crazy.
And she's also, I think, tennis, the
Oh yeah, that would make
you know,
sense.
she's got a
Yeah.
boyfriend who plays tennis. I think his name's
Oh
Ben.
yeah, that guy.
That
Yeah,
guy.
he's a
That,
cutie. I'm
yeah,
happy
no,
for them. It's
he's a
adorable.
sweetie
Yeah.
pie.
I'm like, "Oh, you're a puppy. Cute.
I am
Have
I'm kind
fun."
of like, how about all the league accounts and stuff, like, stop weirdly posting about it, but
Right? That's
I get
strange to me.
it's so weird to me. But,
I don't yeah,
whatever gets you your engagement,
I guess.
grow
Yeah.
that brand,
I guess.
I guess.
There are other ways we could grow the game, but no.
Uh,
Okay.
and then I've got, like, 2 honorable mention surprise teams because it's not like they're doing amazing, but I thought they were probably in worse spots. Just looking at the roster changes from last season, like Angel City, not a lot done. Not a lot done over
No.
there. They've picked up a lot of young players, rookies, and Alana Kennedy, who I was like, not who I would choose, but roll with that. And then we also have Seattle, who similarly not a ton of changes other than bringing in Lynn, who is a really
One
big
big change. Yeah.
one big change. So that's pretty much, and bringing in Darlene, who's really impressed me. Um, I
Yeah.
think just in her readiness and kind of fearlessness in the games. So I think that's been a fresh change. But I was talking about Angel City first. The youth movement has been interesting because on one hand it's kind of working, and then on the other hand, I'm like, I still don't agree with a lot of what's going on here.
Yeah. Uh, I don't love the trend of whatever the race is to sign the youngest player ever. Um, I don't feel like we're that far away from signing Rue. Um, like just
Well, no one's gonna sign Rue because we've all seen her abilities.
it's true. It's
I think
true.
Sid would be the
She's
first to
not.
say
Yeah.
can't do it.
Let's be honest. She's not the one in that family.
No,
Yet. Who knows? She could shift. We don't know.
we don't
I'm
know.
not gonna write her off yet,
No,
but
she's still young. She's got some time.
she's got time. She just may take a non-traditional route. And
Yeah.
that's fine. No, but they have been honestly surprisingly good, and I don't know how or why. Other than Alyssa Thompson, but then I was like, oh, okay. She's out next, or last weekend. And I was like, well, this will be interesting to see how they do without her. It wasn't great. But they're still doing significantly better than I thought they would. So they're another
Yeah.
one I'm gonna keep an eye on.
Especially
Um,
playing Tiernan, who, she's just someone who came out of nowhere basically,
yeah.
and has won a starting spot. And Macy Hodge has been really impressive. She's kind of like the Hal Hirschfelder this year, I think. And maybe it's because
Oh,
they
I
both
like
have
that.
tattoo sleeves. They've
We need
got.
more tattooed players.
I've been saying this for a long time.
It's really true. How are
A
we
tat,
supposed to know who the team badass is if no one
yeah,
has tattoos?
a tattoo sleeve. I'm like, I'm ready
I'm
for you.
in. That's why I was
Like, run me over with your car. Okay.
right? Natasha? Kai,
Yeah.
was early on. I was like, "I love you. Who are you? What's your deal?"
Like,
And it was
there's
all
something
tattoo
there's
sleeve.
something about you that
Mhm. Hmm.
I wonder
What
what
is
it
that?
is. What is
What am I about to learn about myself as well? Who could say? Yeah, but, an interesting one, an interesting evolving team. I do wonder if Alana Kennedy was a good signing just for maturity and to kinda center that, uh,
I guess,
that
but I'm just
squad
like,
or, like,
you
anchor it a
just
little bit.
this is the thing with me, like, with Angel City's like, I call it the revolving door of their midfield because they seem to make, like, a good midfield signing, like, they signed Rocky Rodriguez last year.
Bonkers signing. Great.
Great
Amazing.
signing,
And then she's gone.
didn't fucking use her, didn't use
Same with,
her.
like, Messiah Bright, they didn't use
Messiah
her.
Bright hardly used her. And now they brought in Katie Zelm also last year, and now she's just riding bench. And it's like, what's going on here? Because I think she could have played that role,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Alana Kennedy is playing, like very easily. You know, she captained Manchester United. She certainly has the leadership abilities, and the respect, for a player like her to come in. So it's like, I just don't understand. And
I
you
don't.
know, people have a lot of feelings about Mark Parsons, but I always thought like his recruiting in Portland was like really good.
Yeah.
He brought in a lot of really good players. And I was like, what is it about Angel City that's like they should be bringing like the big signings and they continuously just don't?
They just make weird choices, and I wish I understood. More than anything, I just
I
wanna
don't
understand.
understand.
Yeah, I'm just confused at you, and, like, it's
Especially
not
now they've
even a
got
judgment. It's just like, "Huh? Okay, bud. You sure?
really? They've got
Oh,
the Disney
alright."
money. They've got the
Right?
Disney money.
Where
Nothing
is
is
that money
stopping
coming
you.
from?
I know you have more money than Michelle King.
Right?
What the fuck?
What are we doing?
I
Give
don't know.
me I don't know, give me signings. That's what I'm
But
very curious to see this summer transfer
I
window.
am I am as well, and I'm very curious to see Alexander Strauss take over as head coach. Like,
Yeah.
what's that gonna look like to have a very established, successful coach over there? Will he play Kristen Press more than 5 minutes? TBD.
Yeah. Can Kristen Press play more than 5 minutes is
I'm
also the
convinced
question.
that she can. I don't know. I'm convinced that she can. And this
I
might be my own speculation, but I'm pretty sure she's playing like preseason matches, like a lot of minutes. She was playing more minutes last season than this.
and it like, why would you put her on the bench if she can't, right? Like,
Exactly.
if you
That's
need
also
to call her
my.
in, like, you wouldn't, but I'm also just like, "Are we okay? Is everyone okay?" Like,
I'm just
I'm
mad personally
confused and
because
worried.
I know that we have like limited time with
It's
Kristen on the
true.
pitch, and it's like, why are you wasting it? Because this is all about me and what I want, not about your team.
I'm also just like, "Man, I would be so mad if I did all that work to get fit again
I
and then didn't
know.
play."
I feel like I can. I mean, she would never say anything because that's not who she is. But I feel like I feel a simmering under the
I
surface of
I thought it was
discontent.
crazy for Julie Ertz to do all that work to come back for one tournament and then peace out again. I was like, "Are you
Then
kidding?
never
Aren't you
mind.
exhausted? Like, what are you doing?" Like, if I did all the
No.
work to come back, I'd be like, "I am starting. Move."
Right. Professional athletes are maniacs, and we knew that.
They are
So
crazy. I do think to some extent being a professional athlete is a mental illness, in the best of ways maybe,
yeah,
but
as
it
there's so
I'm
many
worried about all of you, low key.
things. Please seek therapy if you're not already there.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess to
Mhm.
pivot to we touched on Seattle. We touched on Seattle. But just to kind of like tie that bow for them, I think like the best thing that I've seen from them is that they've kind of abandoned the cross and pray like tactic that's been like their bread and butter for the last 2 or 3 years that like drove me absolutely insane. Like just seeing Sofia Huerta like drive in cross after
Oh,
cross after cross after cross after cross after
and
cross
no
after
one
cross.
there.
And
No one to do
like
anything with it.
sometimes Bethany Balcer coming in and maybe sometimes Jordan Hindema coming in. But like I haven't really seen that much from them. And it pleases me deeply because I hate that. Well, from just like a someone who loves watching soccer, it doesn't please me to see
Right.
that over and over again. But also, like, I have a lot of respect for Laura. I'm like, you can do better than this. It made me feel like she
It's
was
true.
unhappy. It made me feel like she was in a funk. It's
It's
like
true. I do think maybe we're seeing, like, a new phase of Laura, and I'm stoked about it, of, like
revitalized.
Yes, and I love this. Like, even the win over Portland and the throwing of the roses and I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, okay, she's spicy again. I love this. Like,
Yes,
give
she's
me
got.
this Laura back."
I mean, maybe she did have like those ulcers last season, so maybe
That's
it was just
true.
like really a lot
Maybe
going
it took a
on.
toll. I
Took a
mean, who
toll.
knows?
I've
Who
never had a
knows?
stomach ulcer, so I don't know.
I have. It's not
Oh,
fun,
yeah.
but it's also I don't think the reason my job has suffered ever.
Okay.
But I have different job, so I don't know. Hers involves being outside and probably active a lot more than mine does.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
but like, yeah, I think also just bringing in some new folks and pivoting from like the Megan Rapinoe era a bit.
Yeah.
They needed to change something and do something different, and I do think Lynn's a really key piece to pulling that off.
Yeah. We saw like in the little time that she's had there, be really involved in good things, good chances, and she had an assist last game. So it's fun to see Seattle, reclaiming some of their former glory. Nice to see.
Now, don't
And
get
we'll
too good yet,
no,
guys,
no.
but like,
Every
we'll
team that we're
be
talking about, don't get too good.
yeah, like chill
Just
though.
yeah, it's like I don't want to watch bad soccer, but I don't want
Right.
you to beat my team.
Right. Yeah.
So this is
Same, although I know my request is less realistic. Uh,
yeah. For now,
currently.
for
For
now,
now. For
for
now.
now.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, so when they get just Fishlock back, like very excited to see how things develop for Seattle.
I
Um,
love chess.
yeah. So those are our surprising teams. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. We're now pivoting to my favorite segment of the show called Sending Off. And it's where we pick something in soccer culture, soccer discourse. Maybe it's something that just happened in a game that really pissed you off and you want to give it a red card. You want to send it off. Emily, as my guest, you may go first.
Oh,
What are you sending off?
I am sending off a broad trend that if I don't talk about it soon, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Oh,
It's been talked about in many ways, um, but it is the poor utilization of VAR. Uh, it has been poorly implemented. I think we've all agreed there. But
oh
I
yeah.
also don't think we are using it to fix the problems it could. We are not using it post match to identify uh, fouls that could be dangerous or things that could be done differently. Uh, Folks flopping. It will happen and it continues to happen more and more in the women's game. Don't say it doesn't happen. It does.
It
Uh,
does.
it does. And it drives me nuts when people say it doesn't happen.
There was
But
someone who bit flop big time over the weekend. I can't remember who it was, but go on.
I don't either.
Don't let me
But it's
interrupt.
like if we want to curb that behavior, now is the time to do it. And the way to do it is to retroactively punish those things. I don't have any issue, my team, any team, of you saying, hey, you dove on this. We got it wrong during the game. We all see it now. That's poor sportsmanship, unsportsmanlike conduct, whatever. Here's a yellow card. It goes on your tally for the season. I don't think it needs to be anything crazy, but I think like we need to use the skills that VAR gives us or the opportunity it gives us to curb the problems we can, and we're not. On top of the fact that VAR takes way too long. It's half the time someone's looking at a cooler or just like a towel under a cart. I don't
The mic.
understand that.
Let me get
But
the glare
like,
out.
yeah, like at least let's make up for it in some way by addressing the problems we know exist and we know how to solve. So yeah, red card to whoever implemented VAR across the board again.
My biggest problem with it is that it takes like 5 minutes for them to even tell them to go to the monitor.
That's the
I'm
thing.
like, why does it take 5 minutes to be like, okay, go to the monitor? Like, if
Well,
you
and
have
then
a
why aren't they already headed there? Like, get near it. I don't need you to hear
Start
it and then
walking.
start jogging. Like, start heading over as soon as they're like, "Hey, we're looking at this." Good.
Yeah.
Start making your
Instead
way
of being
over.
like, you've got players and you're like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm listening. I'm listening. It's gonna be another 10 minutes and then I'll let you know.
I
That's the crazy part to me. I'm just like, just see it once. Feel like there's a question in my mind. Send them to the monitor.
Yeah.
I
As
know you
soon
don't
as
want to
there's
send
a
them to the
question.
monitor like 20 times a match, but like if you have like a
Doubt. Yeah.
reasonable doubt, reasonable suspicion that this was not the right call, take them to the monitor.
Call it early. It's the same as like my rules for like if you have to pull out in traffic or kind of cut someone off in like LA. It's like fine, we all have to do it. It's a terrible city to drive in. We get it. There's too many of us. Get it over with quick. Make the change quickly. Let's all go about our days.
Yeah. Don't drag it out.
Don't inconvenience me for more time than we need to.
No. That is
Yeah.
a classic sending off. Thank you.
It's perpetual.
It evergreen.
Indeed.
My sending off this week, kind of also evergreen because it keeps happening. It annoys me so much. I'm sending off the NWSL playing games on baseball fields. Okay. This used to be our like we were relegated to these like minor league bullshit baseball fields because, teams didn't have real stadiums to go to. Now we've got real stadiums. We're all playing in great places for the most part. I think everyone is actually. Everyone's playing in a pretty good place. Yeah. Anyway,
That's all right.
yeah, we're doing all right, except for Chicago.
It's like it's not, but the field is okay. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing.
the
Like
pitch is fine.
yeah, and I'll take that over most things, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, uh, and you know this because your Stars played at Wrigley Field last year. The BFC announced that they'll be hosting Washington Spirit at Oracle Park, where the San Francisco Giants play. That is an iconic stadium, because the Bay is where it is, location, like it is, but it's not good for soccer. Playing soccer games on baseball fields is bad. It's bad for the quality of the game. The field is so narrow. It's so short. It's bad for the people there. Like the worst viewing experience I can imagine is being in a baseball stadium watching a soccer game because like all of the angles are pretty shitty, right? You're like pretty far.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. And to me, it's like they're like attempting to draw in like trick a certain demographic to be like, you like sports? We'll bring you women's soccer at a baseball stadium and you'll think that you're coming to watch baseball, but it's actually women's soccer. And then you'll be fans of ours. Like, no, that's not how it works, really. I think it's more of a spectacle than anything. And yeah, it's great that it can draw in a certain number of fans, but I mean, Soldier Field can do that too. It's not as iconic as Wrigley, but Soldier Field can bring in people. Just for the location alone. Location alone.
I think I was gonna say I was okay with Wrigley as a one-off of like, hey, look how many folks can turn out if we have a place to play. Like we're kind of making a point of the issue is where our stadium is largely, and Wrigley is, one of the oldest ballparks in the country. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make a habit of it, and I was really concerned about the pitch quality before we went there, and would not shut up about it. And
I'm still thinking about it.
I am. I was very worried about it, and I mean, I will say, if I trusted any player to sign off on it, it was the one they got, Alyssa Dare, because Alyssa wasn't gonna, say okay just because. So they pulled it off, but yeah, it was a weird viewing situation. As a photographer, it sucked. Just in terms of where we could be, there were so many weird limitations. I don't want to see this become a thing. Let's
No,
not.
it's just like, oh, you like sports? This is sports. More sports. Sports ball.
More sports.
At the normal sports ball that you watch. But it's not the same because it's women. It's different. It's like the Charlie Xath. It's different, but it's the same. Anyway, I think the only way that I am going to be like, okay, this is actually okay, is if someone's like shot goes into the bay and the ball goes to the bay. That's like, if we get that, I'm like, this is worth it. This is actually good.
Then it's fine.
Then it's fine.
Yeah.
It's
I need it
forgiving.
to be remarkable in that way. I need someone in a kayak to pick up the ball,
Yes.
and fish it out of the water. Yeah,
I need
maybe I
an
think I'll
absolute shank over
just
the
gone.
wall.
I
Just
don't
gone.
even care if it's
It's
on
out of
purpose.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and I
I would.
need do they have an organ player? That's an
Yeah.
important key piece.
I imagine they do.
There aren't very many, ballparks anymore
Really.
that have real organs.
See, we're losing our recipes.
Really, we are. Organ player at Oracle Park. We don't have to wait for me to Google this, but now I'm very curious.
I mean, everyone is invested in this and the answer to
I
this.
say, do they have only 9 MLB teams still employ full-time organists? Theirs is a part-timer. But I
Recession
do think they
indicator.
have I know, right? It's just not the same. I don't think theirs is like a proper pipe organ. It looks like it's like a keyboard. So that's not gonna do it for me.
You hate to see that.
I really do.
You hate to see
Um,
that.
Shout out to the one at the Dodger Stadium. Is a real good one. Yeah.
Shout out to them. I got food
Yeah.
poisoning from a Dodger dog last time I was at a Dodgers game.
I entirely
Um,
believe that because one of the worst times I've ever felt was after eating 2 Dodger dogs, and
yeah.
never again.
I was on a work trip. Wasn't great.
Mm-mm.
Not great.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
that's some information about me, everybody. We're sending off the baseball field. I don't want to see it again.
No,
Don't want to see it again.
no more.
But that's it from us. Emily, where can people follow you? Find you?
Yeah, my wife and I, you might know her, Leslie Ryder. We run Gal Pal Sports, so you can follow us at Gal Pal Sports on all the things, except Twitter, because we're not there anymore. And I do still call it Twitter. We are Blue Sky only at this point, in terms of micro blogging sites. I am at EMC Anderson on all the things, especially for photos and random thoughts about various television shows. That's usually where you find me. Oh, and
Awesome.
pictures of my dogs. That's the other one.
That's important
Important.
content.
It is.
That's a big part of my content. Pictures of my cats.
It's important. God, I miss having a cat.
I don't know. Get one.
I
You
used
can
to have one. He was a good boy.
You can follow me, Emily Higg, Blue Sky. Sending off pod, Blue Sky, Instagram, all those things. But Emily, thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me. I'm so stoked to be here, and yeah, I will see you on Blue Sky at the very least for the next Arsenal game.
At the very least.
At the
All right.
very least.
Thanks, everyone.